All right, we are live and we are looking at pirate wires. Let's see. I don't know why I love to use Grok 3 just because it's faster. Grok 4 takes too much time, and sometimes it feels like I don't want you to take that much time. American media company, founded in 2020 by Mike Solana, venture capitalist and chief marketing officer at Founders Fund, focuses on the intersection of technology, politics, and culture, delivering newsletters, podcasts, and feature articles. Known for its libertarian-leaning pro-tech perspective, it critiques progressive policies, government regulation, and media bias, often with a provocative, sarcastic tone. Its flagship newsletter, along with the verticals like the industry. I also just realized that Pirate Wires started by Mike Solana, who was a CMO at Founders Fund, right? And I believe they recently just stopped their podcast. I don't know why, but I would imagine that podcast. I would imagine that video content is right now the most important content. People are consuming a lot of video content. There's a lot of appetite to listen to interesting voices and just consume while you are on the go. I don't know why they would be like, no, we want to stick to just the written format. Provocative, sarcastic tone, flagship news that along with verticals like the industry, white pill, optimistic science tech, and dollarist spark. San Francisco politics. Subscription based with some content free for 24 to 48 hours. Right leaning bias and mixed factual reporting due to opinionated framing and speculated arguments. According to Media Bias Fact Check, it has gained traction among Silicon Valley anti-woke crowd with 100,000 free daily newsletter subscribers, most young men and a following among tech influencers. Notable coverage includes tech industry drama, AI developments, and critiques of censorship and regulation. The end of social media. Jack Dorsey has gone through an evolution from looking like an executive to looking like a hippie. Absolutely no way social media companies will remain resistant to state sponsorship without open protocols. You can take content down within the country, but it's available to the rest of the world. But if someone in that country is a VPN, they can still see it. And I think governments are wise to this now, as today they are asking to take content down in every single market. Social media platforms are the central point of decision and failure, ultimately because they have given an entity the ability to make requests of them, whether that be an advertiser or government. It's ultimately the same thing. Social media has power, a lot of political power. It's no more just a place where you post meme, but it's about influence, all sort of influence. America sleepwalking into permanent DEI bureaucracy that regulates AI. The company version. Okay, first of all, we'll read Catherine Boyle. Okay, so this is A16Z versus Founders One. We don't talk enough about how many forms you have to fill out when raising kids. Constant forms, releases, checklists, signatures. There's a reason why litigious societies have fewer children. People just get tired of filling out the forms. The company version of this is also insane for what it's worth. One of the hardest things about running Pirate Wires has just been keeping track of the paperwork. Letters every week from every corner of the country demanding something new and stupid, insanely time consuming. People hear me talk shit about bureaucracy and hear something secretly reactionary coded or something, and it's like, no, my practical experience with regulation is it prevents probably 90 to 95% of everything amazing in this world that someone might have tried. We did it, Joe. Over 60 injured troops, 230 million down the drain, all for a sinking pier to nowhere. Floating humanitarian aid pier in Gaza. Rush execution, botched training, failure to meet military standards, and ultimately complete operational breakdown due to weather and chaos on the ground. Apparently, what little aid was delivered was mostly stolen, made forever service the perfect encapsulation. Don't I? Pirate Wires is a return to techno-optimism in media. People want to be inspired, not demoralized. Publication for the post doom-mongering enlightenment. The controversial tech millionaire obsessed with anti-aging is undergoing 25K gene therapy not approved by the FDA. Don't die. An interview with Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson is trying to defeat the human aging process. Everyone on the internet hates him for it. He has never been happier. DEI. Oh, what a picture. Mira Murati. Thinking Machine Labs valued at 10 billion after 2 billion raising. Corrects the narrative. Wow. Assembling in downtown Manhattan on Thursday. Courtesy of friends, join Warp. We'd love to have you join us. Pirate Wires, New York City, private party subscribers only. There'll be drinks and there'll be merriment. Subscribers only, but you're on luck. Mandatory reading in tech. It chronicles and shapes tech culture from the inside. If you're right to jump at this opportunity. How a network of underground tunnels could one day replace DoorDash. Imagine it's late in the evening, you have been debugging code for hours, need to hit a tight deadline and have an almost pathological craving for Taco Bell. Many such cases. The delivery of your Crunch Wrap Supreme, however, no longer involves ludicrously expensive burrito limousines or any other burrito limousine. This is actually crazy because sometimes you see like people delivering DoorDash on in cars and you're like, wow, like literally for a hot burrito we humans made this happen. Burrito limousines or any other version of a human operated 3,000-pound vehicle trundling through the streets. You place your order and 7 minutes later your meal materializes miraculously in a drawer inside your apartment. What else can you receive? Why this magical drawer? You ask. Cups of coffee, groceries, power tools, a rented tux, and really any object you can imagine, all summoned in under 5 minutes and for less than 25 cents, beating Amazon Prime at its own game. It sounds magical and impossible, but it's really not. It's actually quite simple. To really just dig tunnels underground and fill them with small autonomous vehicles. GB Rango speaks with Pipe Dream Labs, Pipe Dream, about their new network of think pipes in Austin. Before they connect these pipes directly to new construction, they will partner with drone delivery companies to fly your burrito from the pipes to your door. The long game is radical. Reduce our need for delivery trucks, reclaim our streets, and end porch piracy. Eventually, we'll get higher quality stuff faster and cheaper. When think pipes become infrastructure, people will use the systems 10, 20, 30 times a day. An object will move beneath our feet like data. Crazy. They want him dead. Augusto Rico just wants to make it rain. Cloud seeding company has been tasked with a monumental endeavor, replenishing the Great Salt Lake. For this exclusive scoop, Rainmaker will use drones to make snow in the border region between Utah and Idaho, which will melt and run off into the Bear River, the famously depleted lake's main source. The startup is aiming to produce 30,000 to 56,000 acre feet of snowfall in 1 year within the Bear River basin. The lower end of the range would meet about 27% of Salt Lake City's water needs. The higher end would equal production of the country's biggest desalination plant at about 18 billion gallons per year. It's possible the most important cloud seeding deal in the country's history, but it comes at a precarious time for Augustus, who is currently facing death threats for being falsely accused of playing a role in the devastating floods that hit central Texas last week, and in general wild conspiratorial thinking about the nature of weather modification. Across months of reporting about Rainmaker's evolution from a tiny startup feed employs the bank full-time in a cold drone-producing warehouse to a substantial business where tech challenges are the least of their concern. headline though. Josh Kaplan. Okay, so we'll start from Mike Solano and then we'll move to Pirate Wires. Yeah, this is the epic photo. Billionaire media tycoon and former mayor of San Francisco, misinformation researcher, CMO, former rich fund editor-in-chief, Pirate Wires. I just want us to be fucking amazing. Will XAI's chatbot also be another NSFW companion like the waifu? Or will it be more like a contrarian Sunny or Balls health influencer? Or both? An avatar named Chad. Nice dog whistle, Elon. Every now and then, against my better judgment, I dip into the gutter and remember people like this still exist. Dug into the gutter. Words. First major real success in almost any of our lives in the media, mall, cops are doing everything in their power to shut it down. Whoa. First major real success in almost any of our lives, and the media mall cops are doing everything about to shut it down. Have been struck and killed by bright line trains. While key safety measures are delayed, bright line remains the deadliest passenger train in the US. We compare with other railroads to explain why. So he works at Libowitz. What is happening? Libowitz works at Miami Herald. Mets fan. Interesting. There's a UFO themed McDonald's in Roswell, New Mexico. Incredible that the DA tried this case. Your government generally hates you. $150 Palantir. Attention, Los Angeles, this is your man. California should flourish, but right now our cost of living is insane. Wildfires rage, homelessness is everywhere, and red tape chokes our ability to solve any of it.
Was passively build more reservoirs. Over 10 years later, not a single reservoir has been complete. It takes an average of 4.7 years to get through environmental review to do prescribed burns to prevent wildfires. Our government runs on mainframes from the 1980s. We have the highest small business renewal fees in the country. We recently spent $24 billion on the homelessness problem. Our leaders cannot tell us how that money was spent. In 2021, our population went down for the first time in our history. From 2019 to 2024, our budget grew 60%. Do you feel 60% better off? A French train company working on our failing high-speed rail project recently left for North Africa because their politics are, and I quote, less politically dysfunctional than ours. Texas, yeah, that Texas, recently blew past California in utility-scale solar power production. We can't even build the things we claim to care about. Now, we need a dick in the room who's going to have the tough questions this afternoon. This place untold exists, but no one's ever been. Our options for politicians these days are boomers bumbling along or young, charismatic commies who hate America. A new era of common sense leadership is needed, or our state and our country is cooked. I'm Dick Lucas, and I'm running for State Assembly of California in our 51st district. I'm a business owner, a job creator, and the only politician who's hyped the entire state. I'm a sixth-generation Californian. My great-great-great-grandfather came here on a covered wagon train. His son had one of the first cars in Los Angeles. Now I ain't leaving. My wife is due in November. We're going to raise a California girl. We're going to stay. We're going to fight. California should flourish. The top 100% of our citizens along with her. My plan? It's simple. Beat Texas, beat New York, beat Florida, beat China at everything. Here's how. We're going to massively lower the cost of housing by building like we've never built before. We're going to overhaul the permitting process, make it lightning fast, and legalize more types of housing. We're going to supercharge our economy with lower taxes and a pro-tech, pro-energy, pro-building agenda. We're going to have the fastest permitting process in the country. We total transparency to our homelessness industrial complex. We're going to double down on what works and delete what doesn't. We're going to extinguish wildfires, control burns, clear brush, fix reservoirs, build reservoirs, deploy cloud seeding technology, deploy desalination, make sure our reservoirs are full, and we're going to modernize our firefighting equipment. Finally, we're going to build new cities. It's going to increase the opportunity for millions of current Californians and millions of new ones. Californians live their lives and build their businesses with an arm tied behind their back. Imagine what we could do with two. I'm Dick Lucas. Nice to meet you, California.
Oh shit. Oh shit. He literally just said that we need a dick in the room. We need a dick in the room. We need dick in the room. This goes hard. I'll watch it again. I support everything you're saying, but also California governors perhaps foolishly built in a very decentralized way, and because of nothing can get done by just one person, you need 100 people to say yes before you do all those things you want, which again I support. How are you going to break the system that prevents the state from getting anything done? You're going to get 100 people to say yes. Go Dick. Godspeed Dick. You as well, brother, you have been inspiration. Keep going. Long crypto. Shooting on you, my man. Thank you, brother. Tuning to your campaign. Don't see a way on your side. There's a donate button about halfway down the side. Dick for Senate, my man. This is the way. I'm surprised nobody has said yes, we need dick in the room. All right. The most brutal war for talent in tech industry is breaking the social contract between founders, employees, and investors that has facilitated its incredible growth for decades. The ever thoughtful John has produced the first great piece on the trend. Meta's multi-$100 million comp offers and Google's multi-billion-dollar character AI venture deals signal that we are in a crazy AI talent bubble. We are entering a hyper-capitalist era in tech, and absolute TIG explains it will rewire the industry. The myth of the 10x engineer was coined. Today we are seeing 1000x engineers, people whose contributions can materially change a company's trajectory and the trajectory of an entire industry. At these stakes, $20 million per year or more for the right person is an insane. If AI is a $10 trillion plus opportunity, it actually makes sense to spend this much. But this new regime breaks the social contract. Loyalty, founder gravity, and startup idealism are no match for this level of capital. A high trust culture in startups is no longer given, nor in an era of 9-figure checks. In this new world, fewer companies will get more funding and revenue. Fewer employees will get paid more. New labor dynamics will likely merge on both sides of the table. Agents for top engineers, unions for AI researchers, aggressive non-compete tactics. The social contracts between employees, startups, and investors are being rewritten. Only the fiercest founders and strongest missions will be able to offset intensely mercenary market forces. Here's what the future will look like. The AI talent wars challenged the shared trust and mission that aligned founders, employees, and investors. Wow. Zuck is changing the game. Zuck is changing the game. Meta's multi-$100 million comp offers and Google's multi-billion-dollar connector AI and venture deal signal that we're in a crazy AI talent bubble. The talent mania could fizzle out as the winners and losers of the AI war emerge, but represents a new normal for the foreseeable future. If the top 1% of companies drive the majority of VC returns, why shouldn't the same apply to talent? A natural egalitarian bias makes this unpalatable to accept, but the 10x engineer meme doesn't go far enough. There are clearly people that are 1000x the baseline impact. This inequality certainly manifests at the founder level. Founders fund exists for a reason, but applies to employees too. Key people have driven billions of dollars in value. Look in Johnny Ives. The tech industry gradually scaled capital deployment, compounding for decades to reach trillions in market cap. The impact on the labor force has been inflationary but predictable. But in the 2.5 years post ChatGPT, AI catch-up investment has gone parabolic, initially towards GPUs and mega training runs. As some labs learn that GPUs alone don't guarantee good models, the capital cannon is shifting towards talent. Silicon Valley built up decades of trust, a combination of social contracts and faith in the mission. or the step up in the capital deployment is what Deleuze would call a deterritorializing force for both companies and talent pools. It breaks down the existing rules of engagement from the social contract of company formation to the loyalty of labor to the duty to sustain an already working product to the conflict rules that investors used to follow. Trust can no longer be assumed as an industry baseline. The social contracts between employees, startups, and investors must be rewritten. In the age old tension between mission and money, missionary founders must prepare themselves for the step function increase in mercenary firepower. Hyper-capitalist AI talent wars will rewrite employment contracts and investment norms, concentrate returns, and raise the bar for mission and capital required to create great new companies. Talent. As a thought exercise, how much should Google have paid for DeepMind? In 2014, a $400 million acquisition for a pre-revenue company seemed nonsensical. But with the leverage that comes with Google scale, the DCF value could be quite enough. A few percentage points in net savings from the data center cost could make it a 100x return, 100x plus return over a decade. And that's in a pre-LLM world. In the context of Google paying $3 billion for Noam, they probably already owned back the investment in his help getting Gemini training runs unstuck. The deal even looks modest with a year of hindsight. From the big tech point of view, if AI is a 10 trillion plus revenue opportunity and your research team scales sublinear to revenue with a cap of few hundred researchers, is the difference between spending $5 million per year per researcher and $100 million per year and $20 million per year enough to stop you? 10 billion per year in researcher comp is less than a quarter of Meta's annual capex. No matter the odds of ultimate product market fit, the sunk cost is too large to turn back now. Even in 2014, the AI talent wars existed. Meta was reportedly the other bidder in the Google DeepMind deal. But why didn't pricing for top talent run up sooner? The confluence of compute leverage, urgency, and supply constraint means the labor share of value is higher than prior technological waves. Compute leverage. Large labs. I'm actually curious if... Let's open a new one. Who started Google DeepMind? Oh wow. Demis Mustafa, Shane Legg, acquired by Google and later merged with Google Brain Team in 2023 to form Google DeepMind. Currently works on Google DeepMind chief AJ scientist, a role he has held since co-founding DeepMind Technologies, which was later acquired by Google and merged with Google Brain Team to form Google DeepMind. Okay. Who funded DeepMind in 2010? Early funding was several prominent venture capital. Horizon Ventures and founders were invested in the company. Additionally, entrepreneurs Scott Bannister, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and John Tutton. Okay, interesting. A student computer scientist. Co-founders of Skype, where he served as lead developer. Skype's peer-to-peer communication technology, which was later acquired by eBay and Microsoft. Beyond Skype, he co-founded Casa, a file-sharing platform. Currently DeepMind, where he also served. His investments extend to other AI and tech companies like Meta, and Anthropic. Okay. Computer leverage. Large labs spend tens of billions of dollars on compute clusters and are ramping to hundreds of billions. If the utility of compute is a function of compute times research efficiency, and well-used compute drives value across a massive revenue base. The willingness to pay for top researchers grows exponentially. If the utility of compute is a function of compute times research efficiency, and well-used compute drives value across a massive revenue base, the willingness to pay for top researchers grows exponentially. Demand urgency. AI products distribute faster than software or internet products. Chatbots and code gen being two early examples, so the urgency to get ahead is extreme as the market pecking order is established. We are still in an indefinite. What are latest developments from Meta's AI team since bringing Alex Wong on board? All right. Demand urgency. We're still in the indefinite R&D phase of AI where research quality determines frontier product status. If the code gen market is representative of frontier pricing power, the delta in enterprise value capture for being 2 months ahead versus 2 months behind has never been larger. Supply constraint. Key end markets will be decided in the next 1 to 2 years across the product categories that matter. There's little time to train up new talent, and only a few hundred people currently have the skills to harness current frontier model capabilities. No single analogy is perfect, but we can learn a lot from athletes, actors, and traders, where the best are worth 10x or 100x the average. All three categories have tremendous capital magnification. A superstar needs expensive infrastructure, computer clusters, risk systems, studio marketing, training facilities. Managing these superstars has a few unique properties. Discovery for non-urgent hires, athletes, scouting could translate nicely to AI labor to spot young talent before it runs up in pricing. Spotting early talent is similar to AI researchers in that it's more art than science until they have their break performance. Actors are hard to value. Negotiation pricing. CAA emerged in the 1970s to build up acting talent package players together as teams and increase the protection for stars. Like in sports and acting, researchers are already starting to use talent agents to represent themselves. For lower price talent, Hollywood guilds emerged to set day rates as a collective bargaining mechanism to protect the labor. In sports, Moneyball shifted talent pricing from intuition to statistics, but unlike in sports, researcher impact is hard to quantify, especially ahead of time. Even in hindsight, the corporate history gets rewritten by the victors, and it is often challenging to attribute research breakthroughs singularly. Corporate history gets rewritten by the victors, and it's often challenging to attribute research breakthroughs singularly. Retention. Losing a star trader is costly in alpha leakage, and financial institutions fight hard to lock people in with non-competes and garden leave policies. In tech, it's harder to prevent information diffusion when researchers are in the same social circles, but the labs are becoming more locked down. From an infosec perspective, most secrets get held across many labs, but a small fraction are proprietary. As for many submarkets, marginal model edge determines pricing power. This is very interesting. Like, I believe there was a report that came out that Alex Wong has now asked that Meta to make their models closed source. Earlier, Llama was open source. Now they want it to be closed source. And this is also interesting. Like when you hire someone from a competitor, you are bringing a lot of trade secrets from there. Hypercapitalism erodes Silicon Valley's trust culture. Industry level trust alone no longer guarantees loyalty between companies and talent. When trade secret leakage, risk, and money big enough to tear teams apart, vanilla at-will employment contracts don't protect either side. The industry needs a safe equivalent for tech talent. Company side, I expect companies to push for more aggressive trade secret protection, stricter NDAs, more exclusivity, named competitor non-competes, and garden leaves to safeguard against fighty talent. I'm not an employment lawyer, and non competes get tricky in California, but I wouldn't be surprised to see heavier measures to approximate exclusive contracts like deferred compensation or equity clawback agreements for defection to a named list of competitors. Talent side. Only super earning groups outside of finance that doesn't have negotiating help and seem poised for professional representation or collective bargaining to match public company alternative startups may need to offer liquidity guarantees or early IPOs. The rank and file employees also need new mechanisms to ensure that founders and execs won't walk away without them. We're in the early days of labor repricing. Big tech's AI capex investments are so large that they already have the sunk cost, and the labor as a percentage of total investment is still low. Companies must rethink their recruiting and retention strategies. The talent war is net consolidating force on the AI research frontier. At the research labs, big dollars for researchers makes it nearly impossible for new entrants to play. For the same reasons, it's nearly impossible to start a new quant fund. You can get the same leverage out of the talent that big players can. In the trade-off between money and mission, the mission has gone parabolic. Founders use both to magnetize top talent to their companies, but as the capital opportunity cost increases, only the strongest missions can justify the economic sacrifice. The candidates make to the credit of both open and anthropic, money alone has not been enough for the best researchers to defect. Their cult status effectively creates a multiplier on the R&D budgets. They definitely have to work a lot on the branding as well, because they're like, okay, the branding is now gonna make sure that people check the prestige, the branding. The labs feel the talent war most directly, but all startups now require extreme resource aggregation to make AI R&D bets. When the opportunity cost of top talent is higher for both founders and engineers, it becomes harder to coordinate top talent around an early stage bet. SSI thinking machines and physical intelligence all require massive funding rounds for a shot on goal. A single research hire can cost the entirety of a Series A fundraise, making AI R&D far more expensive for startups, pushing most to live above the APIs. A startup industrial complex around the seed Series A, Series B progression emerged in 2010 to support the growth of software companies. Some companies still follow the pattern successfully, Harvey, Abridge, Clean, others, but I believe that going forward, increasing share of startup successes will have a fat pitch founding story. Incubations with stacked founding teams, high institutional credibility on day one, and uniquely powerful missions. Modern successes like SpaceX, Endural, and OpenAI could not be built as lean startups. They are too long horizon and capital intensive to work through the traditional apparatus. Most promising tech frontiers often have a high activation energy foundation models, robotics, biology, where mega rounds are the only way to bridge to the future. The air capital influx means that mega projects no longer seem outlandishly expensive. This is good for the world. On the big tech side, the talent wars thin the playing field to companies with tens of billions in net income that they can cut into, and leaders with founder-like agency that will heavily sacrifice earnings for a seat at the AI table. A sharper power law will create a new gigacap class with multiple 10 trillion companies by 2035. Some subset of startups winners will have a similar formula to what worked in the 2010 small scrappy team, building iteratively until they crack product market fit. An increasing percentage of the new winners will have large war chests and strong missions from day one. AI talent wars will be a net consolidating force. Being a rigid seed or Series A only investor in 2025 is anachronistic. Should you simply ignore the most important tech companies of this generation? Investors must be more flexible than prior generations. The best companies won't map to the predictable fundraise sequence of the past 20 years. Rapid product adoption will require investors to swallow the pride and admit misses much more quickly. For some companies, investors passed on 6 months ago. The right decision is to invest today at 2 to 3x the valuation. At the early stage, a new deal consideration has emerged. Investors evaluate companies with a team quality constituting their downside case. Character and other talent deals make investors think that they can lose money investing in top-tier research teams. It's almost like investing in an AI researcher labor union. Wow. As long as the company exits for more than the cumulative fundraising amount, the investors get paid back first. Investors then justify putting more dollars in at an earlier stage than they would otherwise. SSI and thinking machines both follow this pattern. Investors don't even need to scrutinize the exact technical approach because the upside of AGI is infinity. 1% chance of breakthrough, 10 trillion plus company. This reminds me of what Will Manidis said yesterday, like the thing we read, and it's like there's a reason why investors are acting like this, where they are trying to make the most. Because number one, they either think that software investing, venture investing as we know today, will no longer exist, or number two, will no longer exist. What was the other one? Yeah, he was talking about something very interesting. I didn't clearly understand, but I think that is very interesting. We'll go back to it. He said like investors worry that software investing as we know today will no longer exist, or yeah, I didn't understand that. Okay. I want to go back to Will Manidis. All right here. Objectively, why would this happen? I think there are two good explanations. The sums are simply bigger. Social shame isn't worth it when you are grifting at small scale. But when opportunities to make billions, the ever-rising cost of private aviation can make people do strange things, especially when it's earned in short time scales. The most sophisticated players believe the game is over. The pot isn't getting bigger anymore. But I do think the former explains the fear some CEOs have already questioned. I think the second is much, much more interesting. We're seeing some of the most sophisticated story decades-old private market firms play as if they believe one of the two things are true. One, transformative AGI is around the corner and will destroy software investing as it exists today, leaving total extraction today as the only rational path for a scaled actor. Two, the venture itself is simply as unsustainable, that due to some combination of poor returns, fee compression, unfounded AUM expansion, market constriction, they're managing the most capital they ever will. And you might as well take chips, both physical and reputational, off the table before the game ends. The suspicion is the game is over, the pot isn't getting bigger anymore. Oh, that's more from a money perspective, that more money isn't going to be flowing anymore. Poor returns, fee compression, unfounded AUM expansion, market constriction. So their game is over. They are not getting more capital to deploy. Even strangers to contrast this apocalypse trade with the behavior of other of the pack of tier 1 private managers monetizing management companies, building wealth. We can go back. We have arrived where we were always headed. We all know the end is coming. We just can't be sure what it is. Private markets for the past 2 decades have been positive. Some repeated game, all players have been incentivized to cooperate and have been punished for betraying a set of extra legal social norms and enforce. When the pot is going quickly, any marginal grift or betrayal on any given hand only serves to deal you out of the next bigger hand. We're seeing major firms betray these norms. We now have a handful of extremely visible examples of founding teams and venture firms acting together to do the kind of things previously unthinkable, optimize for their own wealth openly, enrich themselves over employee interests, and muddle the unspoken contract. End stage preparation, pre-hibernation, hyperphagia. Dan Gray, head of Insights, Equidam. Very interesting. As a thinking machine, both follow this pattern. Investors don't even need to scrutinize the exact technical approach because the upside of AGI is infinity. If you believe 1% chance of breakthrough is 10 trillion plus company, if you believe you can lose money given the team quality, the upside case is almost like a free call option. scrutinize the exact technical approach because the upside to AGI is infinity. 1% chance of breakthrough is 10 trillion plus company. But if VCs assess the talent wrong, overestimate the talent, or overestimate the talent's commitment to the company, they can get nuked on big slugs of capital. Even if a team gets to a technical breakthrough, capturing the value isn't guaranteed. Research teams that achieve technical breakthroughs are not necessarily the ones that get product and sales right. Historically, okay, so this is interesting. This is the reason why I think Thinking Machines now has a pressure to release a product, because for so long they have been like, oh, no, we are gonna, oh, no, sorry. Thinking Machines definitely wanted to come out with a product, but they haven't yet. This was part of the strategy, but they haven't yet. They can get nuked on big slugs of capital. Even if a team gets to a technical breakthrough, capturing the value isn't guaranteed. Research teams that achieve technical breakthroughs are not necessarily the ones that get product and sales right. Historically, the social contract of starting a company meant the founders would see it through to an exit. But how big do the numbers need to get before that breaks? People didn't used to leave companies they founded, especially when they are nascent and are highly valued. But the AI talent war is deterritorializing. This fragility enables a CEO or key execs to leave the company with minimal recourse. Founder reaches social contract. Investors also need to reconfigure the founder investor social contracts for this new world. For this new world. Keyman clauses, like VC funds themselves often have keyman clauses for key investors to protect LPs. Investors need protection against extreme instances of talent departure, particularly when it involves the founders. One instantiation could be that founders taking new jobs would qualify as an M&A event or allow investors to redeem their capital. Dilution. For any company participating in the AI talent war, investors need to factor in more option pool dilution than they would otherwise. The share of value captured by employee versus capital layer may look fundamentally different for this type of company. Some may need fewer employees to win, but for many categories, AI companies will be structurally less profitable and more dilutive than internet companies. Only lead check writers of large rounds have enough leverage to command these terms. This makes it harder than ever to be a pure early stage investors in AI research driven companies. Either they have a cult-like missionary following or need a clear path to winning, or with the mercenary game with higher stakes than ever. Success in the startup world was broad. It felt like everyone could win. Anyone could start a software company or at least join, invest in one. That's still somewhat true. Lots of people have built multi-million-dollar ARR AI businesses in short order. The 1% unicorn concept suggests that anyone can start a big company using AI. But in the new world, the concentration of outcomes will be different, both at the talent and company levels. Fewer companies getting more funding and revenue, fewer employees getting paid more. Only the fiercest founders and strongest missions can offset the inflection in mercenary market forces. Higher is usually what attention, but splashy nine-figure researcher offers draw significant public interest. There is a human bias against accepting singular winners of talent of companies. It doesn't feel fair to have a few people run away with big markets. There is something uniquely unstable about a more uneven distribution of success. The French had a uniquely high Gini coefficient before the revolution. The M&A talent war is just beginning, raising compensation baselines and labor promiscuity to protect against the deterritorialization. Expect new labor dynamics to emerge on both sides of the table. Agents, unions, aggressive non-compete tactics. As the numbers get bigger for talent and companies, all sides need to reimagine the social contract as the glue holding teams together. Company mission matters more than ever. Oh, Will Mandis. He's here. Phil Depew. Thoughts and feedback. Reflections on Palantir. The primacy of winning. Howard is turning over teenage geniuses. Palantir is hiring. Mike Solana. Solana. Okay. How do you explain this headline to anyone? Even just 3 years ago, Grok rolls out pornographic anime companion lands Department of Defense contract. Meanwhile, the most advanced version of the AI chatbot from Elon Musk is still identifying as bruh. GPT, did you just make that code up? GPT. Why is it always, oh, you wanna do X? Well, we need Y. We can have two things. They're building a network underground delivery tunnel serviced by robots in Austin, FYI. The future is gonna be like when you're hungry, you order a burrito online, and a few minutes pops into the magic cabinet that lives in your kitchen. Before class society, humans lived in egalitarian cooperative communities. We shared food, raised children together, and made decisions collectively. Capitalism isn't natural, it's imposed. You too could live in a cave and die at 35 of an easily curable bacterial infection. If there is one thing Americans don't understand, it's drinking beer with friends on a patio as someone grills. The point is, in Argentina, people appreciate the quality of time with friends and family so much that they extend these meetings for a long time. Americans prioritize individual needs rather than social connection, no alcohol to stay fed, leave early to get good sleep. The fact that you are dismissing the cultural difference between an Argy asado and an American barbecue just signals you haven't really experienced it and probably never will, since you need real Argy friends to understand the importance of this ritual. This passage going massively viral isn't from this year, but from Firewire's piece, We Can Assimilate Them All. We welcomed you. We created nonprofits to help feed, clothe, find housing. We did everything we could to make your transition here easier. And this is how you repay us, by stabbing us in the back. We can assimilate them all. Hurricane laser people. But he can make it rain, and he should. We thank you for your service. The canonical profile on Rainmaker from Dodge Black, with a great new piece for Pirate Wires. Previously Business Insider. The lake is drying out as snowpack decreases. This exposing arsenic containing dust from the lake bed, affecting local respiratory health. My tweet history. What is preventing you from moving to London? My tweet history. I'm not an economist, but the person working full-time at Target should be able to afford rent, groceries, bills, and have some left over on their paycheck alone. I thought we were boycotting Target. Boycotting means don't shop there. Advocating for living wages doesn't negate that. Wow. This is the saddest thing I've ever read. But your parties like this ever actually a thing? Out of 90s and 2000s movies so much, and all of the teen movies have one of these party scenes that look so fun. I'm Gen Z and have never been to anything like this. So was this a thing that just doesn't happen anymore, or is it just Hollywood trying to make me hate my life more? Croc didn't kill himself. I'm crying. I'm not a big open letter guy. I think it's kind of not okay. We don't want to get, uh, yeah, yeah. I don't know. If Jason doesn't support founders, doesn't really understand founders' thesis and what they're trying to do, and just comments, I don't think his opinion should be something that you care about and shouldn't be really taken into consideration. Yeah, just don't care about it. All right. Meanwhile, in reality, the average American plumber makes more than the average college grad. This is an aristocracy. This is a free-ish market. If you aren't cashing checks, it's because nobody wants what you are selling. If you aren't cashing checks, it's because nobody wants what you are selling. America is a de facto caste system. They're composed of well-mannered bankers, lawyers, doctors, and other MBs with vague job titles solely defined by your ability to do algebra and answer a few questions about 3 paragraphs of text when you're 16. Internet detox in observance of our National Birth Week. See you on the other side. Don't burn the house down while I'm gone. I was actually disappointed by how little Jeff spent on this wedding. The man is worth $250 billion. Drop a quick Billy, invite us all to a New World's Fair, and give us something to tell our kids about. If Jeff Bezos can afford to rent Venice for $50 million wedding, he can afford to pay his fair share in taxes. Provides more value to the world in an hour than you have provided over the course of your entire life. Wow. Wow. What is fair percentage of income, state plus federal? This is important corner for the country to consider 60, 70, 80. Is there any level of taxation in your mind that causes a reduction in total revenue to the government from tax avoidance, reduction in investment work? We may have found the sword bill. 20 years ago, German toddler shocked doctors when he started lifting 7-pound dumbbells like toys. He was only 4 and had a rare genetic mutation that shut off myostatin, a naturally occurring protein that tells your body to stop building muscle. Scientists tried to find a use case for the discovery but couldn't until now. Millions of people are taking Ozempic, which burns fat and muscle, giving them tofu bodies. According to one study, 40% of weight lost on Ozempic is lean muscle. Oh shit. But a new class of myostatin inhibiting weight loss drugs inspired by that roided out German toddler has proven across clinical trials to help people lose weight and gain muscle simultaneously. When we combine myostatin inhibitors and GLP-1s, people finally look the way they thought they would look on Ozempic. They are not skinny, they are shredded. Pharma clocks the potential, and now it's Gold Rush. Scholar Rock, a biopharma company, saw its stock jump 300% when data from phase 3 trial dropped. Eli Lilly paid $1.9 billion for one of the drugs last year. AstraZeneca dropped $80 million on something similar. Ozempic proved dramatic weight loss is possible. Now the game is aesthetics. The next frontier in pharma will not be about making you skinny, but sculpting your body too. Wow. Wow. Myostatin inhibitors. Law against anyone, anywhere. We will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself. We observe only that Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary. Moon should be a state. What does it say? There will be many takes on Zoran's win, but something so simple he didn't perhaps notice was his ever-present smile, a true joyful warrior on the campaign trial through the last day. His smile is truly contagious. Pretty probably work again. For software engineers. $13 a second. This was cool and I'm happy I participated. Founders Fund is not just to venture capital firm, it's a narrative agent with the gospel to spread. Through provocative soft power initiatives, FF has exerted unique influence in Silicon Valley, reshaping its thinking and messaging. No Rivals Part 3. Mario, founder, generalist, Infinite Games. Okay. Mario Gabriel. Okay, we'll look into Mario Gabriel as well. Idea dealer. Actually fine with one small region of the country, say 40 square miles or so, being completely communist provided. Every communist in the country has to move there. It isn't our most important city. I like to share a take in the mornings. Pirate wires labeled the fake American slop. I refuse to. Bruh. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Brilliant, you lost. I was feeling a little depressed and I remembered I'm in Miami. I'm a Miami landlord. Slowly, calmly, meticulously identifying every single person insulted and Interstellar today and blocking them. I'm so happy for the Onan guys and tired of the tedious hate. They built a popular show hard. Now they're launching a tequila brand. Okay, great. Hope it does well. Jealousy on this app is unreal. The success can't hurt you. Focus on yourself. How you feel about the tequila brand is how you feel about yourself. Pff, jealousy. I never said you should make fun of Jason in general. Let's not get it twisted. Who's the first person who comes to mind that disable comments on their ex post? I never said you should make fun of Jason in general. Let's not get it twisted. I think some of them are a little haughty and it has nothing to do with jealousy. Imagine living in NYC, going to DMV and being like, yep, should run my grocery stores. Thinking about the time I ran for 8th grade class president and lost to a guy who promised. Thinking of the time I ran for 8th grade class president and lost to a guy who promised ice cream parties and abolition of homework. Funny that everyone is just assuming whoever wins the Democratic primary is the next mayor. If you're in San Francisco right now, please immediately go outside, walk to a park, and enjoy this insanely beautiful day. Thank you. 10x more for a version of Twitter not completely flooded with foreigners pretending they're American. Probably nothing. A lot of this is just politics, which is important, but I want to focus more on the industry insights, the industry and the future. But politics is also the future. But sometimes it gets into too much politics. We don't want to get into too much politics. Okay, look at this. Focus on aesthetics, art, philosophy, industry. Look at this. Look at this. Closing tabs before RAM outage. Outrage. We build rituals before we build systems. And I won. Create ambassador perplexity and Leonardo AI. Status. Building. These are the best kind of photos where you have like someone working and they're surrounded by books and surrounded by art. There's a couch. Wow. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is kind of the reason why I also have so many books over here. Now I need to fill up with some more aesthetics. Have a great day. Because we read a lot of politics, we need some beauty. We need to fill our brain with a lot of beauty. What is AI? I don't know. Companion maxing. Agriculture. Wow, this is good. This is good. Really cool. AI talent wars. Man is currently offering 2 million plus per year in offers for AI talent and still losing them to Anthropic. Heard 3 such cases this week. AI wars are absolutely ridiculous. Today, Anthropic has the highest 80% retention in 2 years and is the number 1 large company top researcher wants to go. Hugging Face is also up there. Before Musk could hire the Swiss researcher, however, someone else did. Days after Lincoln got the call from Musk, he fielded an identical request from Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of NVIDIA, and he gave the same answer which NVIDIA acted on without delay. Wearing philosophy, Apple, Microsoft, OpenAI, AI as tools, AI as Apple, Microsoft, OpenAI as tools that augment humans. Meta, Anthropic, AI should replace do work for humans. Google aims to give perfect answers but contrary philosophies you do add moral conflicts. Anthropic shares the upper right quadrant. Business. What is that? Opportunity. Okay. I was reading DoorDash, see something. Opportunity, business, opportunity and philosophy. Again, this is just one framework. There are others. Moreover, the boundaries are fuzzy. OpenAI is working on agentic workloads, for example, and the hyperscalers all benefit from more AI usage, whether user or agent-driven. Google, meanwhile, is rapidly evolving, so it should incorporate generative AI. To go back to the talent question, I don't think it's a surprise that Meta appears to be picking off more research from OpenAI than from Anthropic. My suspicion is that to the extent mission is a motivator, the more likely an AI researcher is to be enticed by the idea of computers showing everything instead of merely augmenting humans. By extension, the incumbent tool makers may have no clue but to partner with the true believers. Wow. Should replace do work for humans. Let's see if we can. What is Meta's pitch to OpenAI top researchers? been poaching them. $100 million talent. Poaching strategies already failed. They got engineers and researchers, but not the best ones. Multiple nuclear top AI researchers want the most compute. This compute race seems to go on for much longer than even the Nvidia bulls expected.
There we go. We are live, Arvind. I'm going to get you this because, as always, we encourage audience feedback and questions. So, Arvind, your copy on the tweet, if you want to just read it.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we are live. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm really excited to do this sort of special edition live stream with Perplexity CEO Arvind Srinivas. Thank you so much for being here. It has been an incredibly busy week because it's been 5 days since you launched this browser, Comet. Tell me what the early feedback has been. I know that the waitlist spiked, but what are you hearing from users, from power users?
I would say way better than I thought. It's a very new product. It takes some learning to actually fully utilize the power of it. Like the mode of interaction where you're just asking AI to just go do things for you and waiting for a bit to see the task getting done is pretty new because we're all used to just using chatbots and they come back with instant answers. Sometimes these reasoning models is a bit slow, but the amount of usage on like things like EP search is still like pretty tiny compared to the more dominant usage of chatbots instantly responding to you. The browser entirely changes things from like chat interactions to end-to-end workflows, and so I was obviously expecting not many people to instantly get it, but I'm being very surprised by all the creative ways people are using it, including like controlling like electronics in their home, or like having it talk to their customer support agent for like tracking some packages, or like unsubscribing a lot of spam emails on their inbox, or like creating their own workflows and tasks for getting updates on certain news or stocks. It's really amazing to see how they're like utilizing it for common like small business use cases, like comparing prices and figuring out what to price the item that they're selling on a Facebook marketplace, going and doing research on social media to find what are people talking about a certain brand, and helping like write their marketing messages for that. So we're gonna see like our aspiration honestly is like whatever Claude Code, which is truly like the first agentic software engineer, whatever that did for coding, like we kind of want to do it for any task that any business owner has that has nothing to do with coding, like just day-to-day browsing, and normal people do, and then that's like a much bigger market, and that'll make the browser feel like a true Swiss Army knife for your digital life.
Is Claude one powering the browser?
We use many models. It's not just Claude. It's a mix of our models, which are post-trained on DeepSeek, and then OpenAI's models and Anthropic's models.
What you said that there's been some use cases that you didn't necessarily anticipate. What's been a few of maybe the most surprising ones?
I think like the one that where like, just connecting Comet, our agent, to home devices was pretty powerful. It's still very new. Like it was a mock demo of just like turning color of a light bulb at home based on the weather. But you could imagine this all turning into an OS, right? Like it literally feels like a moment where the AI that has access to your personal context and can control tabs and can access like other APIs and tools, makes intelligent decisions based on what you want it to do and can be run repetitively as like a task. So if we build something like a Comet Task Manager, which has a bunch of background processes running all the time on your client, and can interact with the server for whatever data it needs to pull or whatever data it has on the client, combine the two effectively, and call upon harness reasoning capabilities of the most powerful frontier models and apply it to your day-to-day tasks. That feels like the first real AI operating system, and then that's our vision for our future.
Right. And I mean, when you think about like home automation, maybe you're on the Amazon Echo, Alexa platform, or you're on Google Home, but basically Perplexity has always been sort of agnostic. That's been its strength, right? It can operate
Exactly.
as a bunch of
Yeah, the memory is model agnostic. The behavior, the way the client works is model agnostic. So it's operating an abstraction about like which model or like which chatbot you want to use. You have the sidecar system with you all the time. You can use it while you're on YouTube, you're doing some research and trying to like watch an interview of some person. You pull up some specific things related to some topic that they said. You want to bring it to your interview. That's a use case for you. And then
I used that today, prepping for this, Arvind, so you know exactly.
Exactly. So there's no time for anyone watching 1 hour, 2 hour videos anymore. We're living in a world where like time is in short supply. So having the common assistant just able to do this high bandwidth access to the entire transcript and not just summarization, right? That's just very basic things. YouTube can give you that, but real like fine-grained questions, and then exporting your answers into like your workflow. Not just getting the answer in the sidecar, but actually like, okay, can you just format it in a certain way and just email it to my producer of the show to like have them add these notes to the top, and then just email it back to me. That's sort of like collaboration. That's just so much more opportunity there.
So here's how I sort of like to describe it. I'm using it for about 5 days as well, and just again, sort of just discovering what it's capable of. But the assistant, with the agentic part, it has been really interesting. I call a browser that's not just showing you the internet, but it's trying to see the internet for you. I have to approve a lot of access though to do that because that's how it works best, right? But I think for maybe more mainstream tech, I think we're constantly switching between tabs, but from
Data backups, that's not useful for them. In AI, that's often referred to as memory.
source is harder to monetize, right? So what incentive does he have?
solve them by like sheer like willpower and like raw talent that they have, but hasn't been honed yet. And we're also working on very differentiated problems than what others are focusing on. So
Do you mean top AI researchers, or are you playing in a different bracket?
yeah, we're not really like doing the frontier model research.
Yeah.
It might be too late to start, but we're going to focus a lot on building models that are capable of like using a browser, like controlling the tabs, like scrolling through the pages, uploading documents, clicking on the right buttons, or like you know like just finishing up like some filling a form for you, like those kind of things. I think we plan to like train, post train on top of like the best open source models and deploy them ourselves on our browser.
If it's too late, sort of, or if it may be too late to start building frontier models, what do you think, especially from your perspective, UI perspective, and ease of use, what is Apple doing here?
I don't know what they're supposed to do. I don't want to talk for them, but our goal is to train like these models ourselves that can control your browser and hopefully be able to give people the option to run inference on them locally. I think like obviously like, despite what we say on like what data lives on the browser, what data lives on the client, what data goes to the server, what is retained, what's not retained, there's still a lot of interest for people to like benefit from all this intelligence that can like actually go to work for you, but still have it all run locally. And that can only happen when you can post train on top of good open source models yourself and run inference utilizing the local hardware, right? And Apple's really amazing at building the hardware. Like they have the best laptops with the most powerful chips, and I'm pretty confident that these trillion parameter models at some point will be able to run locally because
I don't know why she's asking about Apple to Rubin Studios, but there have been a lot of rumors that Apple wants to acquire Perplexity.
they have a very differentiated advantage there, and so by building on the Mac ecosystem, like, we hope to give that advantage to like people using Common.
Do you ultimately go from the browser to being able to control the physical desktop?
I think it's interesting. Like there are things that live outside the browser, they're on the desktop client that are still valuable tools people use on a daily basis. Like for example, iMessages or Apple Mail, you know, Outlook, all that stuff like doesn't live on the browser as much. So if we turn the browser into an XP client to like interact with these apps, I think that could be interesting. We're going to explore that too.
For sure. Mark Vent, it is now 30 minutes after the hour. Thank you so much for taking the time. Look forward to seeing what you do. Thanks, Mark. Talk to you later.
All right.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Perfect. That's the stream. Thank you. Thank you.